Hello friends, and also hello enemies. But I won't be having enemies for long because now I have a bear. Will my bear eat my enemies, or will he simply impress them so much that they become my friends? That's a great question, and one we're going to explore today as we look at our final figure in the Mythic Legion's Rising Suns wave, and that is Bodvar the bear. Actually, I think his name is pronounced more like Bödvar because it's spelled with an umlaut. But for my North American lips, Bodvar is easier and more fun to pronounce, so I'm going to say it that way. And it's how I've been saying it this whole time. Also, Bodvar sounds kind of like boudoir, and we don't want to bring bears into the boudoir, unless you romanced Halsin in Baldur's Gate 3. Tonight's beverage is what's called a tea latte. It's basically just tea and coffee with some milk mixed in. The reason? I accidentally mixed my tea and coffee together, and so now I'm just rolling with it. Alright, so you can see that the box is huge. It is taking up my entire space. It's huge. It is so heavy. Try to maneuver it so you can see more of it. Beautiful, as always, illustration of our bear friend on the side. And then on the back, you get the whole illustration. This character's name, I believe, is Atlas. We did not order him, but he is riding our bear friend. So yeah, the bear is meant to be a mount, but it can be desaddled and just be a normal old bear. And Atlas doesn't have to be the only one to ride him. Just lovely art. I hear tell that there is a new book coming out that will be more like a lore book. It's going to have some or all, I hope, of these illustrations. I mean, I don't even need the lore. I just would like a full art book of nothing but these paintings. But if they want to do a lore book, that's cool too. Now, I fear that I'm not going to be able to do the entire unboxing process that I normally do on camera just because this is so very large. Ooh, I want to be very gentle. So yeah, I'm going to get him out of the package off camera. One of the main reasons being that I have already seen some reviews for this because he got to us so late and everyone was already getting theirs, and I couldn't avoid bear reviews. Normally I don't watch the reviews beforehand because I like to go in blind, but I couldn't avoid the reviews and I was really curious. But I saw a lot of people had a problem with the claws breaking. Specifically, I guess this was a problem with the all-in sets. They came with broken claws. That's how I understand it anyway. But I don't want to break anything while I'm taking the packaging off, so I'm going to do it gently and off camera. So sorry about that, but it's in the bear's best interest. All right, bear successfully removed from packaging. He is a little wet because I did want to go ahead and heat him up, so I used hot water and I put him in a big Ziploc bag so he wouldn't get wet. However, in a turn of events I really should have seen coming, he is so pointy that he just poked holes all throughout the bag and got wet anyway. So I'm sorry, an attempt was made. But there's no way you're gonna want to start moving this guy around without heating him up in some way. Hot water, hair dryer, whatever. Definitely, if you don't heat him up, you risk breaking those joints. So I'm going to be super careful and apply heat to this guy whenever I think I need to. But yeah, he is massive. More than just the size, he is so heavy. This might be the heaviest Four Horsemen figure that we have gotten. Maybe Slog comes close. I think the horses are a little bit bigger, but not quite as heavy. This is pure mass. Pure plastic bear goodness. There's so much to look at just all throughout the figure. Just the differences in hair texture, hair lengths, the details on the saddle. There's like a little lasso. There's some kind of vessel, bedroll, cushioned seat. And what's interesting about that is that the cushion is actually, there's a little bit of give to it. It's actually a little bit soft, probably just to save plastic and to save weight. It's probably hollow on the inside, but I just thought that was an interesting detail. It behaves the way you would think that a seat like this would. Different kinds of leather on the saddle. Look at this boy's face. He looks stern but friendly. Cute little bear nose. To me, it looks like even the nose has a lot of detail on it. Like maybe it's just a trick of the light, but it looks like it's got the dark base, and then there's some gray dry brushing, and then there's a little bit of blue, and then there's a tiny bit of pink. Maybe I'm just imagining that, need to go in for an eye exam, but just like range of colors on what you would just consider a black nose. The gray lips are kind of throwing me off, but it's not that they're inaccurate. I just, like, my brain wants them to be darker, like a dog's lips or something. Because yeah, when you look up like grizzly bear lips or a grizzly bear mouth, the bottom of their lips where the hair ends is gray. For some reason, I just want it to be black. I want it to match that nose. But yeah, of course, one thing I appreciate about Four Horsemen sculpts is when they do texture. Animal texture, fur, scales. Typically, it is not the same throughout. There's a difference in length, there's a difference in texture, There's a difference in color. A lot of times amateur sculptors will make the mistake of just having the same scale or fur pattern throughout, and I don't think there are any animals in the animal kingdom that have the exact same texture throughout their entire body. So 4 horsemen are pros, they know what to do. You got thick hairs, finer hairs, you got clumps of just these beautifully rendered clumps of fur, and then they range in color, warmer colors, cooler colors, all mixing together in a beautiful bear. And then the fur on the saddle too is beautifully done. The rope texture on this bedroll is incredible. Looks great, painted great. This is a premium bear, you guys. Preem. Let's talk about those claws. Even the claws are really well sculpted. It might not come across in the video, but there's some texture to them, you know, like a keratin sheath texture, and then there are some scratches as well. They are very long and very pointy, so watch out. Try to be careful. It's kind of nerve-wracking actually, because he is heavy. My arms are particularly weak, and to top all that off, I am notoriously clumsy, so I can see myself dropping him, like him just slipping from my hands and landing right on these claws. That's more of a me problem, but if you're like me, just be extra careful. I mean, sometimes I'll be holding something and I'll just let go of it, or I'll be grabbing something and just end up flinging it for no reason. Like my hand just refuses to grip things sometimes. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I should be worried about it. I don't know how much more I could say about the sculpt besides it's beautiful. Paint, sculpt, execution, absolutely beautiful. You can take off this saddle. He doesn't need to be a besaddled bear. How you do that is will be a fun game for me to figure out. I need the enrichment. I think it's right here. Yeah. All right. And then you want to pop off his head to get this collar piece off. Boop. So yeah, as you just saw, this is a separate piece. These are just rubbery overlays that will go over the neck. And he comes with a second head. I think when you attach the other head, you don't need these. Also, I dropped them earlier, so they're covered with animal fur, which I guess is appropriate. One thing about the saddle and the rein set, and I'm sure this has been said before, but I do wish the chains and the ringlets here were weathered a little bit more. I wish they were black or brass or something. I'm not sure why they decided to go with this just like plain bright metal. But if you were inclined to want to switch it out, weathered chains and ringlets like these are easy to find at like hobby stores and stuff. It might be a bit of a pain to switch them out because you'll need pliers and stuff, but it can be done. I just wish that they had given us something more weathered from the get-go. Still, can't complain too much because it's a beautiful, beautiful saddle set. Honestly, I don't know how much I'll use it because I just like bear. But the reason we took that off is because I want to look at articulation. And hopefully he's still warm enough. He's definitely still wet because I don't want to push anything. Imagine waiting so long for this figure and then just immediately breaking it. It would break along with my heart. So I apologize if I'm not catching all the points of articulation because I'm being very, very careful, maybe too careful. So we get some back and forth on the head. You get a good amount of movement there. Ooh, a very good up for a bear. Bears have very, very short necks, so anytime they can look up any amount is a good day. Down, not so much down, and then it kind of looks weird because you get these gaps, but that's okay. I mean, you're working within the limitations of the material and the physical realm that we live in, so. All right, spread them. Ooh, very nice. You got some back on that front leg, some forward on the front leg. A ratcheting joint for the elbow. Once again, wet, I'm sorry. Try to be professional and make it so it's not covered in water when I do this, but best laid plans. Twist on the paw, and then there's a ratcheted mechanism for back and forth movement. Let's see, I see a cut here. Do we get a little twist here? Yep, we get a twist. I don't know how much use that will be, but it's there. And it's not too in your face. Ooh, with that saddle off, we can see the underbelly. It's very cute. The little paws are so cute. Why did nature make bears so adorable if we are not supposed to hang out with them? Let's look at the back side. You can do the splits again. Back, very far back. Very nice. Not so much front, but that's okay. Got some knee movement. This swivels. Actually, I didn't check for a swivel here. I think it swivels. Yeah, that also swivels. Then you got the same kind of ankle setup. And the tail, let's not forget the tail. Did not have to do this, but the tail's articulated too, and it is so freaking cute. I think it's just a little tiny ball joint. So I would say the articulation is pretty great considering the big chunky mass that is this animal. I mean, bears are just like straight up furry bricks, man. Furry bricks made of blubber and muscle. So when it comes to accessories, he's pretty light. He doesn't need a bunch of accessories because he is a bear. He's a big bear. He's perfect the way he is. Basically, besides the saddle, he comes with extra parts to facilitate a bipedal mode. He can stand up on his feet. So you'll be replacing this head and neck with this one where he's looking straight ahead. So you'll see it's completely new neck sculpt, new head sculpt with the mouth wide open. Crazy texture in there. Just incredibly done. Inner mouth texture. You can even see his uvula. Wrinkly bear tongue. Very menacing. I love this lower lip thing that bears have. Like this almost prehensile lips on bears. Just very, very cool animals. So aside from that, we also have these front paws. So when he's standing up, he won't just be going like this, hands in the air like he's surrendering to the police, because Bodvar would never surrender to the police. So I'm going to be overly cautious again, heat him up again, and then attach these, and we'll see him on 2 legs. All right, here he is standing up, and he looks very menacing. It is a little bit awkward with this gap down at the bottom half, but it's hard to even pay attention to that when you're looking at the rest of him, which is amazing. So crazy that bears can just like stand all the way up, basically. Yeah, he looks so menacing, so scary. And this head does come off, so you can replace it with the normal kind of placid head that he comes with. So you could have him standing up, but not in attack mode, or you can have him on all fours and in attack mode. You can switch it up however you want. I think that is fantastic. You can have him looking whatever way you desire. In the engineering to let him stand up like this, perfect bear. So as you can see, I am kind of having to hold him up. He does stand on his own, okay. I would not leave him in that position on your shelf because, as you can see, he's very top heavy, and it wouldn't take much for him to come crashing down and taking a lot of figures down with him. And then, you also run the risk of cracking these nails. So I'm just being a little bit cautious and making sure he keeps standing. You have to balance the mass a little bit better than I'm doing right now. But yeah, incredible. I have been looking forward to this figure so hard, and he does not disappoint. I'm going to compare him with other figures on all fours, but first I'm just going to quickly bring in a figure just so we can see how tall he is compared to like a normal semi-normal Mythic Legions figure. So here is Nieve. And as we've discussed, she is a big lady, but she is tiny in comparison to this bear. He is just he's huge. Let's bring in a Marvel Legends figure. Just someone even smaller. Look at that. Man, yeah, he is a chonker for sure. I mean, I was in from the very beginning. The minute they said bear, I said yes, please. Here he is sitting down. So cute. I mean, still scary because he's got the open mouth, but yeah, he can sit down. In the olden days, they used to capture bears and like keep them as pets and train them and stuff. I guess it's not that olden. I mean, circuses were using bears up until pretty recently, I think, which is crazy. Imagine how cute it would be to put the cute head on him like this and just have him on a little picnic blanket. How adorable. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put him back in all fours mode, and we're gonna see how rideable he is, and then we will do some comparison. All right, so in lieu of Atlas, who is in all the promotional materials riding the bear, we put Nieve, who also fits, I think. She is also a barbarian from the frozen north. I did take off her loincloth piece to let her better sit on the bear, but it's easy. It just slots into her crotch, and then you can put it back in when you're done. Unlike on a horse, there's no stirrups. You kind of just have to trust the bear knows what he's doing, and in a way that really mitigates the awkwardness of trying to fit a character onto a saddle, because the stirrups never quite fit right. Either their legs are too short or too long, or they just don't go in right. It doesn't look right. So you notice the saddle does have these loopies. There's a smaller loop here, bigger loop here. You can put stuff in them. Also, I assume if you're putting your weapons on the saddle attached to the giant bear, you may want to have them in a scabbard first so you don't cut him. I think that's only polite. Yeah, I really wish this was not bright silver, but like I said, you can fix that if you want. So here he is next to Nieve, just standing up. Not quite as intimidating as when he was on 2 legs, but still very large. So let's look at a few other figures with this bear. So here's the bear next to a more conventional mount. This is one of the newer horses that have come out. As you can see, he is shorter, but not when he stands on 2 legs, that's for sure. So you can see the horses are pretty huge, but The bear has so much mass. He is a thick boy. And then we have another unconventional mount in the form of Moose. Ooh, he is covered in dust. I am sorry about that. He hasn't been moved in quite a while. So yeah, he's pretty cobwebby. Again, the Moose is taller, but the bear has so much more mass. Just two woodland creatures with saddles, carrying people around out of the kindness of their hearts. Man, I gotta dust off this Moose. My Moose is dusty. Here he is next to Marvel Legends Juggernaut. So this is one of our larger, heavier figures, and the bear is about as large, but certainly heavier. And if he were on his two back feet, he would still tower over Juggernaut. Also, the bear's way cuter. Here we have another Marvel Legend. This is Marvel Legend Ursa Major. This is the Build-A-Figure that came out, not the new release. Bear v. Bear. I think Bodvar wins this round. Ursa Major might have human intelligence, but the jury's out on how much. Here we have Mezco Wolverine, because Wolverine has fought a bear before, because he's Canadian, and I assume all Canadians must fight a bear as rite of passage. So yeah, it kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. This can go in all sorts of displays. It doesn't have to be just 4 horsemen. Take off the saddle and it's just a regular bear. Here is Hasbro Holga from the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie. Very small in comparison. She's definitely someone who would ride a bear. Great movie, by the way. Watch it and petition for a sequel. And finally, another Mythic Legions figure that's not as huge as Nieve is. More of a standard sized. This is Sir Andrew, looking fabulous as always. He actually looks pretty good with Bodvar. I think he would ride this bear, and I think Bodvar would let him. So yeah, I pretty much knew this guy was gonna be a winner when I first saw him, when he was up for pre-order, and then I watched 2 or 3 reviews, and he looked fantastic, and I was so jealous that I hadn't gotten him yet. I knew I was going to love him, and I do love him. Very unique figure, very well done in all categories. I like that the tack is all one piece, basically, so you don't have to fiddle with a lot of different pieces. I like that it's easy to get back on and secure when you take it off. It might be a little tedious heating him up every time you want to do a drastic pose with him, but I think it's worth it. And once you've heated him up initially, he should be good to go for a while. So would I rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear? Yes. And that does it for our look at the Mythic Legion's Rising Suns wave. We didn't get all the figures. We just got the ones that really appealed to us. You know, luckily we're not completionists. If we were, we would be in a lot of trouble. Yep, I don't have a problem just picking and choosing what speaks to me personally. But this is the last figure in that wave. So we also just got the figures we ordered from the new Cosmic Legions wave that just shipped. So we'll be looking at those soon. Might review 1 or 2 things in between then. We'll see. Anyway, as always, likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome. And I will see you guys on the next one.